The State Department says those mysterious health attacks on the American diplomatic community in Cuba continued as recently as last month.
Despite earlier U.S. assessments that the attacks had stopped long ago, the State Department now says attacks on the U.S. diplomatic community in Havana continued as recently as August, and 19 U.S. government personnel have been affected. The disclosure came on the same day that the American Foreign Service Association said some of the diplomats who were affected were diagnosed with mild traumatic brain injury. The union says permanent hearing loss has also been diagnosed. The State Department previously said the attacks, believed to be caused by a potential covert sonic device, began in fall of 2016 and continued until spring of 2017.
That's Mike Grazia reporting. U.S. job growth slowed in August. Average hourly pay has just increased 2.5% over the past 12 months and ended in August. Meanwhile, the Labor Department says the unemployment rate ticked up just a bit to 4.4%. More on these stories from townhall.com.
You're listening to Your Personal Realtor, hosted by Eric McKenna with RE/MAX Advanced Realtors. Content and sponsorship is provided by Eric McKenna, and the show is brought to you by CallEric.com.
Well, good morning, Beaver County, and welcome to Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna. I am your humble host, RE/MAX Advanced Realtor Eric McKenna, and again, like we said, it's Saturday, and we are here every Saturday from 10 to noon on the iconic Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. I am happy to be back on Saturdays. This is our second week. Also happy to have the one and only Mr. Matt Durzik behind the big board, the man who seems to be at Beaver County Radio every day, all day.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
So you're giving Frank Sparks a little break, and Matt is taking over that Mr. Beaver County Radio iconic title now.
Yeah, seems like it.
Matt is my producer here. We had Frank for a long time, and we changed the format back to Saturday. We listened to our listeners and our Facebook Live family, and we've returned to Saturday, where our viewership and our listening audience is broader. So, hey, it's an example of really being in touch with the people.
Yes.
Doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. Friends, thank you for giving us an opportunity to spend a portion of your Saturday with you. It's always fun. This show was created many moons ago, and we're on show number 49. That's still kind of hard to believe.
The silver one next week, 50.
50. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't talk about 50. That's a bad number.
Okay. Sorry, my bad.
Matt is behind the big board as always, taking care of all the breaks. How was your week, sir? Matt is also host of AM Beaver County.
Yes.
And I can tell it in his eyes right now that he is the host of AM Beaver County because they look a little on the squinty side. You got little toothpicks over there propping up your eyelids.
Wouldn't have been so bad, but I was also doing high school football last night. I was training Frank's son Kyler to get his hands behind the big board, and I'll be doing that again next week. But considering everything going on with high school football, I was here till midnight last night. So, yeah, bit of a turnaround.
I
quick
can
turnaround.
See that. I can see that.
So I'm an inch behind this morning. I do apologize, but yeah, it's been quite a sleepless week. But it's been a relatively good week nonetheless.
Well, I will do my darndest not to put you to sleep today.
Trust me, it's going to take a lot.
Friends, we created this show basically in an effort to naturally for me to reach out to as many of my Beaver County friends and the wide area network that Beaver County Radio broadcasts on. And then we found early on that by adding Facebook Live to our show, it increased our reach and our scope, and the more we can share with people, and it's been phenomenal. So to those who have embraced us via Facebook, and I see it's building right now, thank you so much. as I thank you every week for doing this. To our wide area listeners on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA, my humblest thanks. The way to participate in this show is twofold. You can call us directly. Matt will give you those numbers because they stole my cheat sheet over here.
They took away the cheat sheet.
I have it. I'll prove to you I have it, my friend. 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888.
Bingo.
The two most famous numbers in Beaver County. Feel free to join us. Any questions are on the table. This is a kind of a free-for-all weekend. Generally, we have topics, and we do have some slight topics we're going to talk about today. One of them being a phrase that I like to coin in real estate as, don't be foolishly frugal. So we're going to expound a little bit on that and how that relates to real estate. And again, the opinions on this show are mine as a realtor.
Right.
And there's a lot of different ways. How do I say this? I don't like the term skin a cat. That's pretty terrible. But there's a lot of different ways to get to the end zone. It's a football metaphor.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So every realtor has their ways of doing things and different philosophies. And I think that makes the business interesting. Obviously, I'm behind the mic, and this is my show, and that gives me the opportunity to, expound on my thoughts. But by no means would I believe that my way is the only way. But we're going to talk foolishly frugal, meaning both from the selling standpoint and from the buying standpoint, and how I believe looking at a real estate transaction, it needs to be done conceptually, and it needs to be done on a broad base, and it's in its entirety, as opposed to, lack of a better phrase, nickel and diming yourself from point A to point B. It doesn't work in real estate because this is different than selling used cars and different from selling, something on Craigslist.
Yeah.
It's a much different transaction, and the negotiations that go along with that are indeed much different. We're going to get into that a little bit. This is also a variety show as well. I would not want to subject our audience every Saturday to 2 full hours of real estate. Heck, that might put me to sleep as well, too. So we love baseball and sports on this show, too, so we at times deviate as well. That's always fun. And being that there's a great sports show on before I come here Saturday, which is the Saturday Sports Slam, which it was interesting because that was kind of my introduction to Beaver County Radio.
Yeah.
It was through all of you on that show. Hosted by you and Frank Sparks and Greg Benedetti over the years. But on that baseball front, before we even really get into real estate here, Matt, I have to tell you, I just want to just throw one question out to you. Just one. I want to get this in before our first break.
Go ahead.
Because I've been dying to say this to you this morning. The following sentence. Freeze, Jaso, Stewart. What does those three names in that one sentence mean to you?
I can pretty much. I honestly, I can pretty much boil those three names down to 3 words.
Okay.
Which actually make it 4. Which is
okay.
starting them means surrender. That's what it is.
Okay, so yes, that does mean surrender, but I think they surrendered a couple of weeks ago. My point is they released Nicasio. That's the big story in Pittsburgh this week, right?
Right.
Okay, we can argue they didn't get anything for him, or was it a small, minuscule salary dump, whatever. It was the statement by Nutting in regards to it's time to basically see what the youth can do because of our record this year. We're out of it.
Yeah.
So let's see what the youth can do. And then Hurdle, who in my opinion has the propensity to fall in love with players.
Yeah.
He's playing his friends.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but it seems like he's playing his friends out there, regardless of the paying customer coming into the stadium that should be getting their money's worth.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about this morning, and I think the revolution is beginning as far as fans starting to get real wise to what's going. I mean, they've been wise to what's going on, but I think they're finally ready to do something about it. And I made, and one of our callers made the suggestion early this morning that instead of saying, oh, we're not going to buy any merchandise now because how dare they, you made a good point. Wait till Christmas time. Then shy your wallets away from the Pirates. And don't get any pirate gifts for your family this year.
I don't know how at this point the best way for a fan to actually show disdain at this point. I'm at a loss. For those who've listened to the show and those who know me personally through the show or personally outside of the show, know I'm a baseball fan. That's primarily more than any other sport. Love baseball. Love it, love it, love it. And the Pirates are a source of amusement for me. I love them, but I also hate them and despise them. And right now, I can't believe that the regression from the past 2 years is basically in full broad view right now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that could be officially considered a short blip of success.
Short blip.
Yeah.
All right, friends. During this first break, too, we'd always like to check in with Matt and see what happened on AM Beaver County this week, certain topics, and what you anticipate you're going to be heading into next week.
Well, this past week we talked quite a bit about what happened with Hurricane Harvey going down in Houston, and our thoughts are still with those out there. But it was also one of the more interesting stories we had this week, and I think you saw it on BeaverCountyRadio.com, was the one I think we had yesterday with the little girl and the lemonade stand.
No, I don't. Enlighten me.
This was the one where she had a lemonade stand. This is a 7-year-old girl from Zelienople.
Okay.
Opened up a lemonade stand, and through it managed to raise $3,000 in charity. $3,000 for charity through a lemonade stand.
For Houston?
No, I don't think it was for Houston. I think she went with the Ronald McDonald House.
Okay.
But
very worthy charity.
Yes. But she, what was ingenious about it was she didn't just sell lemonade like most kids do. Nah, she went out of her way. I mean, of course, her parents helped her. Being 7,
well, sure.
You can't.
Sure.
You're not going to build Rome. But
that may have happened.
Yeah, it could have happened. Different times. But I think what's crazy about it is that they sold fruit punch, hot dogs, iced tea. And I'm just thinking, why is this the first kid that's thought of this? I mean, this seems ingenious.
It is ingenious.
Because, it doesn't take
it's
a whole...
entrepreneurial at a very young age.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, I know you do. That's right up your alley. It's like, you look at this like, she has a future.
No, she's creating her own future. That's tremendous. That's tremendous.
Yeah.
No, I got it too. And as obviously in the news, I can imagine, is what's going on with Houston. That has to be just horrific. Obviously, we can only look at it
right
via television, via internet news sites, and so forth. But it harkens back just horrific memories of Katrina.
Exactly,
and it's just the human devastation. Multitudes of places you can donate. Tremendous to see athletes and Hollywood stars, but more importantly, they are spearheading drives for money, and that's very admirable. Don't get me wrong, but just the common folk, you and me, people in the streets, neighbors, and so forth down there, just taking care of everybody. If that does not show the human spirit and the American spirit, which crosses over all religions and races and genders and creeds and everything. I mean, if that is not a picture or a snapshot of what the rest of us up here living our normal lives need to understand is the real America, I don't know what is.
You're right.
You're
right. I mean, it's that generosity that will, really keep us together in these crazy times.
There's no question.
And
there's no question
to see it, take place with something like Houston is just phenomenal to see.
There's no question. And no matter what politicians try to divide us, no matter what hate groups try to divide us, no matter what political groups try to divide us, in the end, I think we all know better. At least most of us do.
Yeah.
Inside that we're all Americans, and more importantly, we're all human beings. And I think that is what you're seeing in Houston. Yes, you're going to hear of some looting. You're going to hear of all the negative things, of course, but those are so minuscule as to the good that's happening there.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm off my high horse here, but to me, as devastating as it is to unfortunately view this from afar, I will assure you, all of the good that's being done is not lost on me personally, and I would encourage everybody to take a step back, take a breath, look and see what the beauty of what's happening in these areas, and indeed, without a doubt, embrace that in your own life and realize that we all are one people here. We're all Americans. We have a call?
Yes, we do.
All right.
Good morning. You're on Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna.
Well, good morning, Mr. Eric. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Deborah, again.
How are you?
Oh, my last name is Deborah again, okay?
Yeah.
No, I call you Miss Deborah.
Yeah.
And
they do too, but he's just messing with me because I called him Saturday Sports Slam.
Oh yeah, did you give him a little aggravation?
Yeah, just a little bit, Matt?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of aggravation. Well, you think I aggravate people, huh?
You just a little bit sometimes. I mean, I know you have the best intentions, but occasionally you can.
She always has the best intentions. She's never given me a hard time one time, although it might be coming today.
Well, I love you guys. You know that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We appreciate you calling in.
Well, I hope I don't offend you, Matt.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Okay.
Go on.
Anyways, okay, he's not commenting on that one. But anyway, okay,
There's a story there, but we're not going to get into it.
okay. Anyway, you guys are having a mini AM Beaver County teleforum slash thing here.
Yeah,
well, just for the first segment of the show, yes.
Good, because I wanted to call you and I wanted to ask you a question. Speaking of news, did you hear what happened in Beaver yesterday afternoon?
You know what? I'm not sure even if I had heard about it. I might have. I might have got.
Did you, Eric?
No, I did not.
Well, there was an accident in downtown Beaver.
Right in the heart of downtown.
Right in the heart of downtown Beaver.
Okay.
Right across from Beaver Super. This guy who is 90 years old.
Oh, boy.
He went to put his car in reverse, and I guess he lost control. And there was nobody. I think there was a red light on both ends of the street. But the thing was, he went over the medium strip up onto the sidewalk and hit a tree and a couple cars, and nobody, thank the Lord, nobody was hurt.
Wow.
Well,
It was on Channel 11 News last night. Man, I was laying down in bed, and I heard that, and I popped up out of bed. I thought, oh, my gosh.
well, thank goodness no one was
and I'm
hurt.
thinking to myself, wow. And this lady was interviewed. She was in the store where it happened. Her little boy was at the store window looking out the window, and she heard this noise, and she told her little boy, she says, get back, And so, but thank the Lord this man didn't run into any buildings. Not the street down in a couple cars, but, goodness gravy.
That's a very tough subject, too. I was a caretaker. I was the caretaker for my grandmother many years ago, and she was very independent, lived a very long life, very, very dynamic woman. But there came a time in her life where we needed to take her keys, so to speak. And it's a very sensitive subject. It's a very, very sensitive subject, and sometimes it needs to happen. And I think that's when we need to be really embraced with our family and know our family and make decisions as our family for what's best for our elders. Absolutely.
Well, what was funny about the story, and it did kind of make me laugh, was when the news reporter said, well, if this guy's going to want to get his driver's license back, he's going to have to retake his driver's test. And I'm sitting there cracking up laughing. I'm thinking he's 90 years old. Is he going to go take his driver's license test again?
Yes. It happens. I can assure you. I'm speaking not from obviously not personal experience, but family experience. Yes. And I salute those. I mean, I hope I'm 90 and still able to drive. So,
yeah, 'cause there's some really good drivers at that age too.
Well, and I will tell you, I encounter similar circumstances in real estate, where families, where let's say an aged couple contacts me about selling their house, and they're of an age that I would prefer to have some family members there with them when they make this decision, of course. And it's a judgment call on my behalf sometimes. I like to try to politely encourage the families to make group decisions for their parents and their grandparents. And generally that's what happens, but it's tough, getting older, we're all going to do it. It's all going to happen to us. And getting older, whether it's a life decision like moving, selling property, or even being able to operate a car, or even live alone independently. These are very important life decisions. And I just encourage families to take them very seriously.
I have some neighbors that are a little bit older, and it's hard for them to give up driving because that's one of the last things of their independence.
Sure.
Besides selling their home and moving to a smaller apartment, and and then they have to give up driving. It's like, once they give up driving, it's like they feel like they lost all their independence.
It
Except
is.
for going into the nursing home.
It is, and that's where I will, and I am not an attorney, and I don't even play one on television, nor do I pretend to be one on the radio either. But I will tell you that I really encourage good estate planning. If the budget isn't there, if they lived a very humble life, there's nothing wrong with that. But I would say seek out an attorney that you trust. You work with the family, take care of your parents, take care of their estate, and try to get a good grip on an understanding of what the tax responsibilities may be on their estate, regardless of how small or large it is. Once they're gone, it's a harsh conversation, but you really need to do the prudent thing. So I would encourage everybody to get good estate planning. And if my grandmother did me a great service. She was a very educated woman. She was very independent and very sharp, but she also had a contingency plan and gave me the authority, her power of attorney, that if I saw diminishing behavior on her behalf, I was able to act on that. So that was a utopian situation. Not that it was easy. Taking her keys was not easy, but you have to do the right thing. But again,
and it's hard to see your parents getting older.
It does. It is.
I'm having a hard time accepting that fact. Being my mom's a little bit older now, but anyway, on a humorous note, Eric, I thought that your side job was working for LGKG.
Whoa! Back up again now. What's going on?
Now hold on. Where are you going with this, Miss Deborah?
Well, when you said that you're not an attorney and you don't play one.
Oh, me?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not an attorney.
It's kind of like,
No.
Okay,
no.
I'm just playing with you.
No.
Well, listen, I'm going to let you go, but I wanted to bring that up about the car situation, about the guy with the accident here in Beaver. But thank the Lord, like the lady said, it was a miracle that nobody got hurt, and especially the little boy that was standing at the door, of the storefront. So thank the Lord for that. But you have a wonderful weekend. Have a happy Labor Day.
You please do the same, and like I said, you're always welcome on this show, always.
Well, thank you, Mr. Eric. And Matt, I'll talk to you next week.
You bet.
Yep. Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome, hon. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
We're going to head to our first break, friend?
Yeah, I'd say it's about
all right, friends. Hey, thank you for putting up with us for the first segment. Always have a roundabout here on the first segment.
Just don't put it like that. We're doing fine.
We always do fine, but I mean, we'll get into some real estate talk and some other fun on the other side of the break. Always a good time we open up here. Friends, you're listening to Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna, Realtor with RE/MAX Advanced Realtors. This show is sponsored by my website at calleric.com, and I promise you this, we will be right back. Hello, friends. This is RE/MAX Advanced Realtor Eric McKenna with calleric.com and host of Your Personal Realtor on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. I really hope you are enjoying today's show. Friends, did you know that I can be your personal realtor? That's right. If you're looking to list your home or buy a new home, call or text me today at 412-613-4466. That's 412-613-4466. Or send me an email at sold@calleric.com. That's sold@calleric.com. I just love it when listeners become clients. So why not contact me today and let me put my social media advertising to work for you. Together, we can reach your real estate goals. This is your personal realtor, Eric McKenna, with RE/MAX Advanced Realtors and calleric.com.
Who's this week's pick of the litter? Listen to WBVP and WMBA every Monday and Friday from 9 a.m. till 12 noon for the Beaver County Humane Society's pick of the litter. We'll be highlighting 2 lucky resident animals from the shelter who need a loving home. Plus, we'll be featuring pictures and information about the animals on our website each week. It's WBVP and WMBA's pick of the litter each Monday and Friday from 9 a.m. to noon. Brought to you each week by the 19th Hole in Chippewa. Dr. Allison Scavuzzo in Freedom, Albert's Heating and Air Conditioning in Conway, Vibrant Images in Bridgewater, Canine Kingdom in Vanport, Attorney Michael W. Nally in Aliquippa, Laura's Loving Pet Sitting and Walking Services, Beaver Agway, and Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Here for you 24 hours a day. Beaver County's hometown radio stations, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
We are back. Friends, thanks for joining us for our next segment of Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna, Realtor with RE/MAX Advanced Realtors out of Swickley and Robertson Township, although my office is in Swickley. They say I have an office there, Matt. I'm never there. I'm out working, but I do hang my hat in the good town of Swickley, PA, and I service Allegheny, Butler, Washington, and, of course, the Beaver County.
Yes.
The home of Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. These crazy people have actually given me the opportunity to get on the air. That still is amazing to me, 49 weeks later.
I know.
But here we are.
Yeah.
Special thanks to Mark Peterson, Frank Sparks, and now the new addition to this team, Mr. Matt Durzik. We started this as an science experiment almost a year ago. Brainchild of Mark Peterson, the grand poobah of this here station, Sir Frank Sparks, and yours truly. They started an hour format, and we've moved to 90 minutes. We were renewed for 2017, which was thrilling for me, being a total novice at radio. And from that point, we went to Wednesday. We went to a primetime location and spot, and while I thought it went very well, the feedback from our listening audience, from pretty much universally, was that they wanted us back on Saturday. It fit everybody's schedule. People liked the fact we were coming in after the sports slam. I kind of like that as well. Mm-hmm. And we are back on Saturday for the full 2 hours, which is just phenomenal. And it could not happen, would not happen, if it wasn't for you wonderful people. We added Facebook Live, both on my personal page, I'm waving to, and my business page, I am waving to. Thank you for all of you for joining in and participating. Questions have come to the show, and you can ask your questions on Facebook if you'd like, or you can send me an email. I am somewhat internet connected here, would you say?
Yeah.
We have quite the setup here.
Yes.
Sold at calleric.com, or you can call in one of the two most famous numbers in Beaver County. That's Beaver County Radio's hotlines. That's 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888.
Mm-hmm.
I am standing in the luxurious studios here at Beaver County Radio, actually the Lachina Drapery and Blinds Factory Studio.
Yes.
See, I'm remembering all these little key things. This show is sponsored every week by a plethora of great people, which I will get to in a second. But the overall sponsor of this show is my website, calleric.com. You may have seen that calleric.com. It's a rider sign that hangs on all of my listings throughout Allegheny, Beaver County. Right now, I think all of them are in those areas. That is my marketing brand, Your Personal Realtor, Eric McKenna, and our website, calleric.com. I encourage you to visit there. If you're thinking about selling real estate or buying real estate, or you have someone in your family you'd like to provide some assistance from, I offer you my services to. There's no obligation whatsoever. My personal line to call or text me anytime, 412-613-4466. Again, that's 412-613-4466. I am at your service, your personal realtor. Just give me a call. All right. So
the one thing you mentioned that
yes.
you were mentioning at the beginning of the show that I'm sort of intrigued by is the idea of being foolishly frugal. Now,
foolishly frugal. So when I say that, because that's kind of a term that I've coined locally here, I'm sure someone's branded it and I'm stepping on their shoes.
Yeah.
But I when I first got into real estate, I encountered some some circumstances financially that reminded me of my days with Boogie Street Guitars when I ran that for a long time.
Right.
I used to basically use that when I would talk about pricing with my clients, because some guitars were priced more than others, and if a guitar served a certain purpose and a certain want for somebody, I used to say, hey, in the end, this extra $200 is are you being foolishly frugal? Only you can decide that.
Right.
And then I bridged it into real estate. But when you hear that term, Matt, what comes to mind for you?
Somebody being just having issues with their finances. It's essentially what it is. It's just a matter of they're spending the wrong kind of money in the wrong kind of places.
That's interesting. That's definitely a take on it for certain.
Yeah.
For certain. With real estate, the concept that I have of frugally. Let's start over again here.
Take two.
Take two here with my scratchy voice this morning. Foolishly frugal to me in real estate. And by the way, I did a whole video vignette of Foolishly Frugal on my website at calleric.com under the McKenna Minute. Foolishly frugal to me in real estate can be both on the buyer's end and on the seller's end. I'd like to say leans more heavily on the buyer's end. Let me extrapolate here. It can come in many fashions. It often comes in the negotiation standpoint where you are putting in an offer for a house. And generally, even with this type market, we will get counter offers. And then you'll bounce offers back and forth with the essence of trying to come to a number that's suitable for both sides. So a buyer has invested a lot of time with their realtor, a lot of time on their own probably searching out homes, because all of my buyers we just seem really dialed into the web now and the home shows on TV and all that good stuff.
Right.
So you spend many, many hours that you need to keep in the back of your mind. There's a money component to that. If not a money component, there's a time component that means something to your family time. You had to do it. I don't know when you did it. Maybe you did it at work. I don't know. But what I'm saying, you put the time and effort in to spend doing this. You spend time with your realtor. You spend time going out looking at homes. And then you probably spend a considerable amount of time looking at this particular home multiple times. You spend time doing comps with your realtor. You spend time doing the offer. So you have all this invested into it. And it seems like you really like the home. You're not passive about it because you put an offer in. Oftentimes what I see is the buyer will try to, in their mind, lowball a seller. Now, is there a place for an aggressive offer in real estate? Yes, there is. In this market, are there many opportunities for an aggressive offer? No, there are not. This is a seller's market, meaning we don't have enough homes and a whole bunch of buyers. So the pricing on homes is up there, but it's also where it'll appraise. But sellers don't have to come off the house very much if it's a great house in a great location in great condition and has curb appeal.
Right.
You see what I mean? So what happens oftentimes is we put an offer in that might be slightly aggressive, and the seller either walks away or the seller counters with just a small discount. So my buyer now is quite a far distance from the price of where the seller wants. And they start negotiating a little more, and they get a little closer and a little closer. And then the buyer will take a stance when they're like $1,500 apart on a maybe $200,000 home. And the buyer's saying, I've gone up $10,000. I'm not going to go up one more dollar. I'm not going to do it. And my argument is, you've got the seller's best offer. You and the seller are $1,500 away on the house that you've invested in. You put a lot of time in. It's the right house for your family. You're in a tight market. The houses aren't available. There isn't like another one down the street you can go check. You can continue this process. You can walk away. But is that really the right thing to do? If the house is what you want, is losing it for $1,500 the right thing to do for you and your family? Only you can make that decision. As your realtor, I would say you need to consider what that $1,500 implication is per month. And generally speaking, again, because there's interest rates and all that stuff. But generally speaking, it's about, excuse me, about $7 more per month. Now, it's a terrible way to look at real estate because that's what car dealers do to you, right? They come in and they say, well, it's only an extra couple, but a car, estimation, maybe 7, 8 years if you're lucky, 10 maybe if it's a truck, right?
Right.
This is a house you're going to be in for a long time. This is your home. This is your home. Do you really want to lose your home over $1,500?
Yeah, I mean, this is where lives are going to be built. I mean,
absolutely right. And the effort that you have in the effort that you've worked with your realtor, not only your time, your realtor's time. Do you want to walk away from something? Do you want to be that stubborn? Now, everything is relative in regards to the price of the home, meaning that on a $500,000 home, arguing over $1,500 is utterly ridiculous. On a $40,000 home, arguing over $1,500 holds a lot more weight, obviously. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I've encountered at times is the concept of being foolishly frugal because there's the perception that you have to win. And winning is defined differently by different people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was in the guitar business. I used to fight for every dollar when I was young and inexperienced. When I would go to the guitar shows, I'd dicker back and forth on these guitars. And, I lost a lot of great opportunities to acquire some amazing instruments that probably could have made me money because I was fighting over $20. I had to win. In my head, the winning was more important than anything else. And as a young man, I used to go buy cars that way too. I have to beat up that salesperson. I need to make sure that salesperson feels pain. He has to go back to his manager 10 times. Yes, the system for selling a car is ridiculous. And I don't care who I'm offending out there. It's ridiculous. Okay, if you work at a car dealership and you sell cars and there's a lot of successful car salesmen, God love you. God love you. I couldn't do it if my life depended on it because inherently your system is flawed. Your perception by the public is worse than even realtors.
Yeah.
It's flawed, okay? It doesn't mean there's not good people in that industry. I'm just talking about the way you handle customer sales. So I think the consumer feels like they have to win. It's combat. They have to go in and beat you up, and you're gonna beat them up.
They have to have their cake and eat it too.
Pretty much. So I think to take that mentality, which kind of a lot of us have just by buying cars, that's brought into real estate often, and it's a mistake. Mm-hmm. It's a real mistake, and that's what I talk about foolishly frugal. Meaning that I don't want you to get a bad deal on a house. My job is to protect you from that, okay? But the concept of a bad deal means different things to different people. And what I try to encourage to my buyers is, look, you've come this far. The seller may be even going below market value because he's got some motivation, but they're only going to go so far. And you could be $2,500 apart. Do you really want to lose this house for $2,500 and start that process again? Because you may not find that kind of property again in this market.
Yeah.
So it's a $25 expenditure. So do you win, Mr. Buyer, by getting the house that you want? You paid the extra $2,500 for it, which in the big scheme of a $200,000 purchase is not a lot of money. That's how you win, getting the house that you want at market value that you're going to build a family in.
Yeah.
That's the win. The win isn't going to go try to take that $2,500 and split it in half in $1,250 and dicker back and forth because that guy may walk. He may walk. My point is that's not a win. Beating the other guy up is not a win.
Right.
Now, I would encourage any of our listeners here, Facebook Live, anyone listening online, I would love to hear your thoughts on negotiation. And we're not going to. I don't want to beat up car dealerships. So I don't want you to call in and talk about your car dealership stories. I'm sure we all have them. But if you have any specific feelings on negotiation, and heck, if you think I'm wrong, if you think the buyer should go in there at the lowest price and hold firm and walk away and do all that, if you think that's a better strategy, I'd love to hear that opinion. I really would, because I vehemently disagree. I think the winning in real estate is getting the house you want as a buyer,
right?
Getting the house you want that you really feel comfortable in, that you really want to live in, and getting it at market price. And obviously making sure it fits in your budget. Mm-hmm. But, we probably know it does because you're pre-approved for it, and it's probably we wouldn't be putting these offers in anyways if you had not already set your budget.
Right.
Don't feel that you have to quote unquote win by beating up the seller.
Yeah. I mean, because here's the thing. By doing that sort of situation, and you mentioned it, not only are you restarting the process again for you and for your money, but for those involved in your life, for your family. And how are they going to react if you're trying to, weasel your way out of a couple $100, to start the process over again and, let go of a good thing while it was there?
Yes, and there's many ways to handle negotiation. Matt, you just nailed it. I mean, you need to have if you're a single person, single woman, single man looking for a condominium, okay?
Yeah.
The decisions that you make are more parochial to you. They're just
right.
And the word selfish is not being used in a negative connotation here, but you can afford to make a selfish decision. It's only you that you're affecting here.
It's a matter of it's my money. I'm going to do what I want with it.
Exactly. But I also think it's foolish to view a win by walking away from a property that makes sense for you. Do you see what I mean? Over a couple $1,000.
I agree with you there. I'm just,
But you're on the bigger scope of things, right? Consideration for your wife, if you have young children, getting them in the right school at the right time, uprooting their current in the mid. People move in the middle school years, happens every day. You want to look at many factors, and that's where I'm a big believer in doing something that's so simple. Was taught to me by my mentor, Mr. Jim Rohn. We spent a whole show on him. Great guy. You get a piece of paper and you make a T account. I mean, how simple is this? I do it with every buyer I have. We sit down at a coffee shop, my office, their home. We sit down and we put that T account. Okay, this is the house. What's the level of love of this house? If they say it's 9 or above, then we're going to go for it. As your realtor, we are going to go for it. Here's the positives and the negatives. This is the positives. If you take this house, this is what you're going to gain. If we lose this house, this is what you're going to lose. Okay, and we stack them. And if I've done my job right, and they have been honest with me, which most people are, the positives are always way higher than the negatives. But sometimes it's good just to see it on paper and say, is all of this worth arguing over $1,500? Give the money to the seller. Pay the seller market value for the house. They've probably already conceded a bunch anyways. The win is you getting the house. The win is not feeling like you beat him up financially. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know it sounds a little harsh the way I'm saying it, but I'm telling you, I encounter this all the time. I don't know if it's the television shows when they see them dickering back and forth with, numbers and so forth. Maybe that's what it is, Matt. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not huge on those shows, so I wouldn't know either. But
I think sometimes the shows the shows I like actually discuss the negotiation process, and they give the listener an idea of how that works. And they show some of the, back and forth and so forth. But all right, friends, we're up against another break, believe it or not. Hey, the time goes fast when you're having fun. I am here with my good friend and producer, Mr. Matt Durzik of Beaver County Radio. This is your host of Your Personal Realtor, Eric McKenna, with RE/MAX Advanced Realtors. And we'll be right back.
Center is holding a job fair Thursday, September 7th from 10 until 4. Come and meet the management team. One lucky candidate in attendance will receive a $100 gift card. No purchase necessary. Providence Care Center is hiring RNs, LPNs, CNAs, and more. On-site interviews will be held with offers made on the spot. No previous experience. Providence Care Center offers free CNA training. Find out more Thursday, September 7th at Providence Care Center, 900 3rd Avenue, Beaver Falls from 10 until 4.
Reverend Gary Hilton of Chippewa United Methodist Church would like to cordially invite you to come join his congregation in celebrating the life of Christ every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. The Chippewa United Methodist Church is located at 2545 Darlington Road in Beaver Falls. So if you can't make it to the service, then listen every Sunday morning from 11 to 11:30 a.m. on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA to the Reverend Gary Hilton of the Chippewa United Methodist Church. Be sure and follow the Pittsburgh Pirates all season long and do your part to root them on by listening to exciting game action on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Local coverage is presented in part by Town Square Restaurant, Summit Automotive, Roberts Roadside Inn, the Medicine Stop Pharmacy, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Center Exit Tire, St. Barnabas Beaver Meadows, Dogs on the Run in East Palestine, and Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Check us out at beavercountyradio.com.
And we are back. Friends, thank you for rejoining us on Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna. Always joined here by Mr. Matt Durzik, my producer and adopted co-host at large.
Yes.
Yes. Before we head into the final segment before the news here, I want to read a couple sponsors of this great show. As you know, the main sponsor is my website, calleric.com. I encourage you to definitely visit there often. This show is also sponsored by our great friends at Frags Tags for all your title, transfer, and notary needs. Frags Tags in the heart of Coriopolis. Go in and see Jonathan and Michelle. They'll take great care of you. 412-264-3018. Show is also sponsored by by lifestyle, family, and portrait photographer Miss Dawn Morris. From infants to toddlers to preteens to graduation and beyond, let Dawn capture those special moments in your family's life. Call for a session today at 412-337-8348 or visit gypsysoulsphotography.com. You'll love to see the work she does with color. She is phenomenal. It's also sponsored by this here show. That's right, by Miss Leslie Raymond with Union Home Mortgage. Contact Leslie directly at 412-719-5673 for all your mortgage needs. She is my go-to mortgage representative. NMLS 138287 and Matt's favorite PA license number 29666. This show is the horns. I see that. The heavy metal horns. Yes. This show is also sponsored by, what a great guy, Mr. Matt Pia from Division 9 Home Inspection, who is, I think, right now on a flight to Turks and Caicos. One of those resort islands. He's on a flight.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, Gesundheit. Have a great trip, Matt. Matt is our resident home inspector here who is a guest on this show often, and he's promised to come back on the show very shortly. You can reach Matt at 412-715-8123 to discuss all things about your house and his home inspection services, one of the finest in the valley. And you can visit Matt at Division, 9, inspection.com. This show is also sponsored by our lead sponsor, and who should be calling in around 10 after of the next hour, Mr. Dave Bishop from Big Bang Comics. And, let me repeat that again. Big Bang Comics and Collectibles. That's right. In Swickley. That's right, Mr. Dave Bishop. I say the place is where you go to get your inner nerd out, but really it's a cornucopia of fun in there. Run by a great guy, Dave Bishop. You can reach Dave at the store at 412-259-8742. That's Big Bang Comics and Collectibles, and tell him Eric sent you. We'll be hearing from Dave shortly on Diamond Dave's Deal of the Week. Mm-hmm. Show is also sponsored by Mr. Chris Moser from Chris Moser Electric. Business, commercial, any electrical issues you have in your house and you're looking for an electrician who's going to treat you fairly, is going to be prompt, and more importantly, is going to do great, safe work. Contact Chris, 412-292-7455. Again, 412-292-7455. That's Chris Moser Electric. Give him a call. You will be happy. I can personally vouch. He does great work for my sellers and buyers. There you go. I'm getting better at that. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I might have a career in this here gig. Huh?
Quite smooth.
Ooh, okay, friends. We've been talking about the concept that I use here, known as frugal. Boy, I thought I was on a roll, Matt, but apparently I am not.
Apparently, the traffic from last week has now moved into your mind.
I think so, but I got here early today. Got everything set up. We're talking about being foolishly frugal today. And this here show, also, I want to remind everybody, is being recorded, not just with Facebook Live in two spots, my business and my personal page. I'm waving to both of you. Thank you for joining me. We're also recording it with video, and all of our show, well, let's say I believe like 46 out of 49 shows now will be broadcast in their entirety and recorded there for posterity on my website at calleric.com. At calleric.com, you can receive information on my realtor practice, my philosophies on how I treat my clients, what I expect from my clients as well, my philosophies on real estate buying and selling, lots of video content there, which I think is important in this day and age to convey my thoughts directly as opposed to just reading and blathering on and so forth. You can actually listen to me blather on. So there you go. But I encourage you to visit calleric.com. I have a couple of video vignettes in there to talk about my concept of foolishly frugal. We talked on the other side of the break. We were giving examples about on a negotiation standpoint where, you may be $500, $1,000, $2,000. Sometimes it's a large purchase, a $500,000 home. You might be $5,000 apart. It's all, that $5,000 means a heck of a lot less in a $500,000 purchase as opposed to a $200,000 purchase. So we all have our thresholds. We all have our budgets, and you should have those incongruents with your realtor. Your realtor should know where you are in those so the realtor can help you negotiate the best way possible. And if you've done all those negotiations and your homework and you're honest with your lender and your realtor and you've put your best foot forward and it's a $200,000 home and you really like it, your wife likes it, your significant other likes it, your children, you can see, it's the right school district. Everything's falling into place. Everything's falling into place on this home. Do you really want to lose the opportunity for $2,500 if you just can't get any closer with the seller? You really need to sit down and vet that out. And if generally speaking, and I don't have numbers here, so don't hold me to the exact number, but it's roughly about $5 extra per month on your mortgage, on a 30-year mortgage, with an average interest rate for every $1,000 that you add. So at $2,500, you'd be roughly $12 more per month. Yeah. So you have to look at that T account we talked about with all the positives and the negatives, and if all the positives outweigh the negatives in a great way, is it worth an extra $12 to settle and get under contract and get that house? Because that's where the win is. The win is not beating up the seller. It's not unless you somehow enjoy going down to the bar and telling all your buddies, yeah, I beat that seller up. I made him capitulate. I ended up getting an extra $2,500 off of him. If that's what you want to do, well, you know what? And this is a gender thing. I'll say this. All my life, I've had friends, and there have been generally men friends, that they would brag about how bad they beat up the salesperson at a car dealership or what kind of steal they got on that. We all like to, I guess, talk about that stuff, I guess. But that's the wrong mentality to go into when you're going to buy a home. Yeah. It's not the right mentality. This is not it's not like going down to, what's the big flea market over across the border here?
Rogers.
Rogers, right. You're not dickering over like a brass lamp or, listen, I'm all for negotiations. I mean, like I said, my prior life, I was in the guitar business for 15 years. And before I got into the design stuff and had fun working with all these quasi-rock stars and all that mess, in the beginning, I was a horse trader. I'd go to shows, I would take cash, and I'd wheel and deal. I'd buy low, and then I'd sell them higher. That's what I did.
Right.
But I didn't learn to be a smart negotiator and understanding the bigger picture. Understand that even in guitars back then, I was better served by thinking conceptually, looking at the big picture instead of looking at the dollars and cents often and the pennies and nickels, for that matter.
Right.
Not to deviate off of real estate, but I can completely remember I had a friend of mine who went to me at the show, and he was just dabbling in it. He wasn't full bore like me. And we walked in, and the guitar doesn't matter. I think it was a Jimmy Page model Gibson. Very rare, back like in the late 90s. And we're there, and the guy's got two of them. Now, I know in my head that I'm seeing like the internet pricing for these guitars at about $5,000 a piece. And each one he wanted like $3,000 each for him. And so I offered him to buy them both $2,500 a piece at the show in cash.
Yeah.
But he wanted his $3,000. And I walked around all day steaming because I would have had to pay an extra, an extra $500 or maybe $1,000 extra.
Yeah.
knowing that I'm going to make $4,000 once I sell them. Do you see?
Yeah.
So I was being spiteful over this extra money I was going to spend when I was going to reap a huge financial reward.
Yeah.
So I had to learn that at a younger age, that, sometimes you need to look conceptually. And I think that's helped me help my clients in real estate.
Right.
Because I can get them to see conceptually. Does it make any sense at
It
all?
does. It does.
Yes. And I think that's a good negotiation concept for anything you buy, especially real estate. All right, we're up against it. You are listening to Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna, RE/MAX Advanced Realtor, here every Saturday from 10 to noon on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP in Chippewa and Beaver Falls, and 1460 WMBA in Ambridge and Hopewell. And right now, we're headed to Town Hall News.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump used his weekly media address to praise first responders in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey.
I want to say a special word of thanks to our amazing first responders, our police and law enforcement officers, firefighters, Coast Guard, National Guard, EMS, doctors, nurses, hospital workers, and volunteers who have traveled from all across the country.
The Democrats also used their weekly address to discuss Harvey and its victims, as well as to praise the first responders. The struggle continues in Houston. Correspondent Val Dior reports.
For several, it was 5, 6, even 7 days ago now that they were run out of their homes by rising water, and some are in their homes with no power. People are hungry for a warm meal and exhausted from next to no sleep, from stress, maybe lack of a dry bed, or even staying up to protect your property from criminals. And that's why around 24,000 Texas National Guard troops are deployed here to help residents of Southeast Texas cope with the aftermath of Harvey. Val Dior reporting.
President Trump is slated to pay a visit to Houston and Lake Charles, Louisiana today. He'll survey the wreckage left behind by Harvey. The White House, meanwhile, finalizing plans on a nearly $6 billion hurricane relief package.
The $5.9 billion would be a down payment on what could eventually be the most expensive disaster relief package in U.S. history. Plans are to rush this first installment through Congress as early as next week. This first check would pay for immediate recovery operations. Congressional leaders anticipate several more installments that could eventually rival the $110 billion spent on Katrina.
That's correspondent Wally Hines reporting. Thick black smoke and towering orange flames shot up yesterday from a flooded Houston area chemical plant after 2 trailers of highly unstable compounds blew up a day earlier after losing refrigeration, compliments of Hurricane Harvey. More from townhall.com.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 400,000 businesses. And right now, listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/America. That's ZipRecruiter.com/America. One more time. To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/America.
An American Indian tribe whose reservation accounts for about a fifth of North Dakota's oil production has now imposed a higher tax rate for drillers. More details from correspondent Jeremy House.
The move by the 3 affiliated tribes has come under fire by the governor and the state tax commissioner, who believe it is improper. Meanwhile, industry officials fear the higher tax rate may slash production. Last month, the tribe notified the more than 30 companies drilling on the Fort Berthold Reservation that it's seeking the tax rate that Tribal Chairman Mark Fox says it needs to pay for additional law enforcement, road repairs, and other consequences of oil development on the reservation.
That's Jeremy House reporting. Athletic events have been forced to change schedules. Residents said to be breathing in hazardous air as a result of stubborn smoke from a massive set of wildfires burning in parts of the West. The problem of the irritating haze said to be affecting people from small towns all the way to the massive San Francisco Bay Area. More from townhall.com. New rules on testing car emissions being put into effect across the European Union. Here's the BBC's Theo Leggett.
Although Volkswagen is the only manufacturer which has been found to have deliberately manipulated the emissions levels of its vehicles, the current testing regime is widely believed to be inadequate. Cars which meet emissions limits under laboratory conditions are regularly found to produce much higher levels of pollutants when used on the road. The new test will be carried out on public highways and has been designed to reflect typical driving conditions. However, the limits imposed will initially be substantially more lenient than those applied in the laboratory.
That's Theo Leggett reporting. August was a strong month for U.S. auto sales. Hurricane Harvey is putting a bit of pressure on some of those gains, however. General Motors said its sales rose overall 7.5% in August compared to last year at this time. Toyota sales were up 7% compared to a year ago. More details on all these stories at townhall.com.
WBVP, WMBA.
We are back. Welcome back to hour number 2, which my good friend Dave Bishop somehow labeled this hour of the show the McKenna Power Hour. I don't know. Again, this is coming from a guy who owns a very successful comic book and collectibles store, so I don't know if I buy into the whole Power Hour thing.
I can see where it comes from. You know.
Maybe the real estate Power Hour. Or something.
I can see it pop up in one of those little squares that says, now time for the McKenna Power Hour.
That was Matt. That was good.
Well, I've been doing this for a few years.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Friends, I had a couple questions this week. One of them was. One of the emails I got was very nice, and it was why the show, and you're obviously very busy. Why the show, and what enjoyment do you get out of the show? And I want to speak about that after we have a phone call coming up here, but I want to speak with that after the phone call. So
and guess who else but the Diamond Man himself?
The Diamond Man is Mr. Bishop.
What is up?
Diamond Dave's Deal of the Week at Big Bang Comics and Collectibles. Good to hear from you, partner. How are things?
Busy.
Yeah. For those who don't know, I will, with keeping the confidentiality, but David also a client of mine who is on the move to a beautiful new home, and so running that amazing business. His wife, very dynamic and beautiful woman. He's lucky to have her. I guess she's kind of lucky to have him too, to some degree. I think you got the better. Beth, you got the better end of that deal, buddy. But we're not going to flesh that out. We're not going to flesh that on radio.
Got the better end. I get the better end of the deal.
But the both of you, I know, are busy. So I appreciate you taking time out today. And what is Diamond Dave's Deal of the Week at Big Bang Comics and Collectibles in Swickley?
We're going to go back to the Walking Dead Lucille ballpoint pens at half off. So there'll be $5 throughout the week. All you got to do is mention you heard the deal on the radio.
Heard the deal on the radio. If you can remember my name, just say that Realtor guy on Beaver County Radio.
The Realtor guy.
The Realtor guy on the the Power Hour. There you go. So this is the Walking Dead Lucille, the baseball bat, which has become an iconic instrument of destruction in that show, so to speak. And you have ballpoint pen versions of that. Yes, I stopped over and saw those. They're pretty darn cool. They're pretty darn. I tried to beg them for a free one. I didn't get one though, but
We'll work on that.
you can get one for $5 at Big Bang Comics and Collectibles. And besides the deal of the week, you just got to stop in this place. If you're a comic book fan, movie fan, great place to bring your kids and your grandkids. And, you walk in there with attention. Oh, I'm just going to look around. And the next thing you know, you're walking out with 2 bags of stuff because that's how cool this story is. And Dave's a true success story on many fronts. And we're going to get him in on this show and talk about some cool things about entrepreneurship and perseverance. And Dave will be part of that once I convince him to find some time off from his schedule.
Yeah, probably in a couple of weeks, I think we'll be at that point where I can, take some time. We'll do a show.
All right, partner. That sounds like it is. And one more time, repeat the Diamond Dave deal of the week at Big Bang Comics and Collectibles. It is
half off on the Walking Dead Lucille ballpoint pens.
There you go, friends. Stop and see him. Big Bang Collectibles in Swickley, right across the street from my brokerage, as a matter of fact. Stop in and see Dave or any of his staff. Tell him you heard it on Your Personal Realtor or just that Realtor radio guy. I heard, or just say, hey, I'm driving down the road, and I don't know who that guy was that was blathering on about stuff, but it was talking something about real estate. I heard it on there. That's good enough.
That's right.
David, thanks so much, my friend. Appreciate you calling in.
Welcome.
Talk to you soon.
All right, later.
Bye-bye.
So
there you go.
Yeah, it's funny because I know it's part of The Walking Dead now, and it's a show I've watched a little bit of. I tried getting into the one season, then
yes,
my source of that sort of went out of my life. But anytime I hear the word Lucille, I think of the song. And not only that, I because you know what song I referred to, the Little Richard song.
Yeah.
But realistically, the version that comes to mind, I don't know if you ever heard about this, is one done by Paul McCartney and John Lennon.
There's a version of Lucille by those two?
Yeah. And
I'd like to hear that.
Well, it's actually it's actually a sort of a well-known bootleg.
Because it's so bad?
It's not. It's actually not that bad. It's a little wonky and very off the cuff.
A little wonky song. When someone describes a piece of music as wonky, don't expect much.
Yeah. Well, you have to understand. This was like an off the cuff thing where I guess this was 1974.
Sure.
And it was.
Hey, be nice.
Well, no. I'm just.
I remember it very well.
I'm just.
The A's won the World Series that year.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But I'm just putting it as context. This was 4 years after the Beatles, and
right.
I don't know whose session it was initially, but it was either John or Paul's, and the other one just sort of walked in, and they just started jamming out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it wasn't, and the crazy thing, it wasn't even just Lennon and McCartney. You had Harry Nilsson was there, Stevie Wonder.
Oh, wow.
Bobby Keys was in there, and it was sort of
Bobby Keys are playing sax for the Stones.
Yeah, and all of them were just gathered together for this one sort of session. And apparently the reason, because we know that Lennon and McCartney were sort of pretty acerbic toward each other.
No question.
But I guess John had been pretty acerbic toward himself, let's say. I'm not going to explain what I mean by that. But
yes.
So essentially, John was well out of it, and so when Paul showed up, it was just like, hey, come on in. And that's how this album came about. And their version of Lucille is like the one song on that album I can somewhat sort of tolerate. The rest of the album is sort of, it's okay, but it's bootleg quality stuff. So
no, I get it.
Loose and very,
it's wonky.
Yeah, it's wonky.
Yeah,
is the right term for it.
All right, friends, we're having some Facebook Live issues again this week. Coverage is coming in and out. I apologize for that. I have spoken with the management of this here radio station, and we're going to work to try to get that corrected.
Spoken with a manager.
Yeah, we're going to get to work. But right now, both of our Facebook Live broadcasts are down. So if you're listening to us, and you're trying to tune in as well, that it's popping back in and out.
First hour's fine.
But we've got to get this corrected because Facebook Live is an integral part of the show. So my apologies for you there. Right. We are working behind the scenes to get this corrected, which basically means working behind the scenes is I'm frantically trying to figure out how to relaunch it on my phone. Okay, getting back to the foolishly frugal aspect of real estate.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have a question for you in that
Yeah,
regard.
go ahead. Absolutely.
I know we talked about how it's sort of more of a male thing than females to sort of have that winning mentality. You got to win against the salesperson.
I think so.
But my question is, it's sort of in that same vein. What do you think of the ages of the people who try to be foolishly frugal the most? Like, what would you consider the age range?
That is a very, very good point. That's a very good point. Whew, I got to watch what I say because I guess I'm going to enter the deep pool now, Matt. But here we go. I will say it is with, and I don't know all the demographics of how we classify millennials, Gen X's, Gen Y's. I will tell you this, though. My younger clients, now when I say younger, I'm talking in the 20s, and I would say up to about 30, late 30s. Yeah, that's younger to me.
Right.
They have less problem in the negotiations. They are able to conceptualize a little more and understand the value in the property and the value of what their goal and where they want to go. I feel it's more, late 30s, 40s, and all the way up until the senior citizens. That demographic of people tend to want to be a little more combative, and they want to be a little more. They need that feeling of winning a little more. Does that make now? Is that jive with what you thought, or is that surprise you?
No, I'm not too surprised about that because they think they're playing with the big dogs, and I think, because you didn't mention like the younger generation in that so much.
Well, I've had a couple clients that are 20, 21, 22, 23. They're kind of the same way. It's a more laissez-faire kind of, they don't make bad decisions. I won't let them, but at the same time, they're more open to, being more pragmatic in the negotiations, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And I think certainly nowadays, and I'm just sort of speaking for my generation here, I think there's a bit more, like you talk about thinking logically and thinking about, what is this going to mean for me, not financially, but as far as my
lifestyle.
And I think they're pushing more towards the lifestyle aspect of it because they're not thinking to themselves, oh, this is going to cost me so much later on. It's just going to be like, no, I have a house. That's it.
No, I get that, and that might and to pigeonhole it in, is that more of a symptom of age as opposed to a generation's philosophy? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, is that more the want of the home is more, it takes precedent maybe over than a philosophy of like, we love our lifestyle more than we care about stuff or what, does that make any sense?
Yeah.
That's a really good study. I don't have any details. I'm sure somewhere on the web, some think tank that is related to the real estate industry, believe it or not, has that broken down.
Yeah.
And I read a lot, and what I try not to do on this show, if at all possible, is take articles that I read that are heavy in statistics and numbers and bring them on here. And it's not that the information is not valid. I'm sure it is valid.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't find practical use for it, I'm not going to convolute the show. I mean, I'm not an analytical guy. I'm definitely what you consider to be an expressive. I can do the number crunching. I also work with a great mortgage agent. I work with people who really will do the number crunching for my buyers. I can run cost sheets, and we can do the numbers on paper in front of you. There's no issue there. But really looking at it conceptually is easy for me because I view everything in the big picture. And like I said, I had to kind of learn how to do that in business and learn how to do that in negotiations. But having this experience that I have in many negotiating, how do I say this? I think one of the strengths that I bring to real estate as a realtor is a multitude of years in business in many capacities. I was a customer service rep. I actually I built breathing apparatuses on assembly line as a kid. If you want to go further back, I used to do pizzas. I've always worked, but as I progressed, I've gotten to customer service, which was great. It was great, a very humbling experience for me. Then in sales, in different capacities, in negotiations, and then getting trained in negotiations and negotiating skills, very important stuff. So the point is, in a nutshell, is through those years and negotiating different types of things, I've learned how to treat the other side, to try to put myself also in their shoes and what their goals are and ask the right questions and so forth. all of us realtors, 99.9% of all realtors are out there trying to do the very best they can to get that deal done. We're not doing this. We're not running around trying to waste time for anybody, not our time, not our clients' time. So we have this time invested too. And if you're a good realtor and you believe in the house that your client is trying to sell or is going to try to buy, if you believe in it, if you believe it's a good decision, you want to do everything in your power to show them and convince them that it's a good decision based upon everything they've given you. But you always hold back because you realize we work for the client. And in the end, they have to make the decision. I can't sell you a house. As a buyer's agent, I cannot sell a house to anybody. I can bring everything there. I can show you every avenue, including the ins and the outs of the house. We can bring a great inspector in, Matt Pia. We can give everything to you. But in the end, if you don't have the capacity in your head to get there, that's your right. I have no say in that matter. We're on to the next property. And I think that I've seen a lot of client frustration on the buying end, especially in this market because it's so tight that people were looking to save every dime that didn't need to. And what I mean by that is they were in a financial position that $2,500 to get that house would not have hurt them financially. They've conveyed that to me, through their budgeting and so forth, well within their budget, according to how it was conveyed to me. But there was an element of having to win. That having to win is just, that causes you to be foolishly frugal. Makes any sense?
Even taking the frugality out, it just causes you to be foolish. Honestly,
there's no question.
It may not even have anything to do with money, but you're just trying to, have that sort of machismo where it's just like, I know what I'm doing. I got this, my way or the highway. And it just, sometimes you have to step back and think to yourself, okay, but really, what am I doing here? Because, I could be arrogant and sort of, be the, winner in my mind, but, at the end of the day, what am I going to have to show for that victory? And if you're not, showing anything, okay, it's like we were talking before about, braggadocio guys at the bar, about getting the best dealership. It's like, oh yeah, so yeah, you really showed them up. I was like, yeah, I showed them up real good. It's like, so what do you have to show for it? It's just like, well, I'm still holding on to that 1990 Dodge Neon, I guess. I don't know.
Well, and that's it. I mean, and the thing that I've often said too is, I've had clients, and in the end, they always end up doing what I believe to be is the right decision, but it takes a while to get there sometimes. And we've seen a couple houses that they didn't get an opportunity to buy because they couldn't make a decision, or they were stuck over $1,500 or $1,000. And the other thing too is you might be leasing an apartment. You got to look at it. Okay, so I can't get in there because I'm $1,000 off, and that seller won't budge. But now I got to pay an extra $600 on top of my current rent because I'm on a month-to-month now. Do you see what I mean? It really comes down to, are you doing the right thing for you financially? And sometimes if you can't look beyond your nose and see what the implications of not making a decision are, in the long time, there's a time cost of money, and every month that goes by. So moving into the second part of being foolishly frugal, let's talk about when sellers are foolishly frugal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little different, see?
Yeah.
So when sellers are foolishly frugal, it typically starts out this way. I go to list their house, and we look at comps. And, of course, I love when my clients are engaged. Now, I talk to some realtors, and I say, what's one of your biggest pet peeves as a realtor? Because I'm always fascinated by people's opinions and so forth. And I often hear from some realtors, well, it's when the seller, thinks that the Zillow's estimate is the ultimate wherewithal, how much their house is valued, or their house across the street they saw that looks just like theirs exterior-wise, sold for $200, and I tell them, that the comps show your house should sell for $175 because it's not the same house across the street, but just getting the client to be realistic about their housing price. That tends to be a huge frustration for realtors. Can I say I've been frustrated about it? No. But have I encountered it? Absolutely. Absolutely, I have. And there's a way that I deal with it, and that's, we talked about it in prior shows. I don't make anybody. I suggest to my sellers that we have a plan. If you, Mr. Seller, you want to list this for, 209, we'll do that. But understand, in 2 or 3 weeks, we need to agree between the two of us to walk that price back if we're not getting the activity. And ultimately, the market's going to dictate where the house is sold. The market chooses everything. Nothing, something is only worth, anything you're selling is only worth what the market is willing to pay for it. So it usually starts with an overpriced house. Okay, so they're foolishly frugal, meaning they want the most for their house, So we bring it down, we bring it down. Okay, now we're getting more interest. We're in the ballpark now. And there are times where a buyer will come to them through an agent. The agent will call me and say, Eric, I have a very interested buyer. They are approved. It's a young couple. It's on an FHA loan, which is a government loan. Nothing wrong with them. That's, as a matter of fact, most loans are FHA now. But, they only have so much money. They have a limited amount of money down. We need your seller to give some financial help for closing, which is called seller assist. That's where at closing the seller can, they can agree to a price of 180 with 10,000 seller assist. So basically, the loan is for 180 at closing, and the seller hands 10,000 to the buyer at the table to help cover their closing costs. It enables young buyers with limited amounts of funds in the bank to get homes. My point is, when I go to explain this seller assist sometimes to home sellers, they take it personally. Oh, well, I already discounted the house, and they're offering me 180, but they want 10,000 in seller assist, and that's only going to net me 170, and that's true. All that's true. But I think as a seller, you need to have some numbers in your head, and you got to look at it pragmatically. Every month you wait and the house doesn't sell, obviously, in most instances, people have mortgages on those homes. That's another mortgage payment that you have to make. So waiting it out and fighting over a couple $1,000s while you're continuing to not get into the home you want to get into next, right? And also paying 2 mortgages potentially, if you're already in that house, there's the time cost of money, and that's where pragmatic thought goes into it. And so from a seller standpoint, when I say foolishly frugal, you're fighting over, $1,000, $2,000 where this buyer might not even be able to get there. But even if the buyer's got an unlimited amount of money and the buyer just says, Mr. Seller, I don't think your house is worth 185. That's where I'm at. And you wanted 190. So it's $5,000 less. Okay, well, that's you can hold out. But what if it takes 2 or 3 more months to find another buyer? And there's no guarantee they're going to be at 190. You see, there's a time cost of money. Mm-hmm. And that's a different conversation than with the buyer when you're dealing with the seller. Time cost of money, and it comes up a lot, Matt. It comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And you got to look past your nose.
Yeah. Because you make a good point. You're not just, battling, with a negotiator. You're battling with the market as well. So, if you say, okay, I'm not taking this, I'm going to wait till, I get it to where it needs to be down to be. It may not go down. It may go up. And that's going to cost you even more and even more time, and somebody might swoop in and take that with the money.
We haven't even gotten there yet, and you just nailed it. That's the next part of the conversation. We are not in a market right now that from a buyer's standpoint that you can be foolishly frugal. Now, you can make the argument, well, it's a seller's market. Maybe there's a little more leeway. I can hold out. Well, yeah, you can. You can hold out. Yes, there's a lot of buyers out there. But there's indicators, and there's indicators of showing slow, if the showing amount is not there, if the agent feedback, which is ultimately very important, and we talked about that last week too. That's when agents will talk amongst themselves, and I always ask for it, and I always give it. And most agents are good about giving it, but the agent will give you their opinion of a lot of things on the house, and sometimes you'll get a buyer's opinion. Well, they're both valid. What their buyer thinks about the house is valid to a degree. But buyers sometimes have unique things they're looking for. The agent feedback's great because usually we're in this business and we know what we're doing, so we're giving the other agent feedback. Hey, you know what? This house shows great, but if you look at the top of the house up there, you might have missed, man. There's some leak in the gutter because we came when it was raining. So there's things that they might point out that we need to correct. But oftentimes the agents will say, you're just overpriced. And that's, and I'll have to look at the comps and go back and use that agent feedback with my seller and say, hey, the agents are saying that our house is a little high.
Yeah.
So the frugality can be foolish on both sides. I just don't think that you want to take a chance. You see what I mean?
Yes.
And really, keep your house on the market so long out of spite. You got to look at it pragmatically, and you have to have a vision of the bigger picture. So, up against the break already, huh?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Friends, you're listening to Your Personal Realtor here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. I am your host, Eric McKenna with RE/MAX Advanced Realtors, and I promise you this, we will be back. Hello, friends. This is RE/MAX Advanced Realtor Eric McKenna with CallEric.com and host of Your Personal Realtor on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. I really hope you are enjoying today's show. Friends, did you know that I can be your personal realtor? That's right. If you're looking to list your home or buy a new home, call or text me today at 412-613-4466. That's 412-613-4466. Or send me an email at sold@calleric.com. That's sold@calleric.com. I just love it when listeners become clients. So why not contact me today and let me put my social media advertising to work for you. Together, we can reach your real estate goals. This is your personal realtor, Eric McKenna, with RE/MAX Advanced Realtors and CallEric.com.
The end is coming soon. Hurry up because the train is leaving the station. You better act now. These are all phrases that get used to put emphasis on something that will be drawing to a close in the near future. So put some hay in the barn while the sun is still shining. Oh man, I messed up again. There's another one. And call Beaver Valley Sheet Metal at 724-775-7300 during the final days of their $750 savings discount off air conditioning when you purchase a qualifying furnace. To phrase it another way, if you snooze, you lose out on the savings at BVSM Heating and Cooling because summer is drawing to close. Don't let the curtain come down on your chance to save up to $750 off air conditioning with a furnace purchase. Visit BVSM1.com. PA number 3285.
Hi, this is Larry Ferrario, host of Natural Health. Join me every Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock for an hour of the most current information on getting and staying well in a non-toxic, non-invasive, sustainable way. We'll give you details on the best organic foods, vitamin and herbal supplements, fitness activities, and a verse or two from God's Word that will help strengthen your body, mind, and spirit. That's Natural Health with me, Larry Ferrario, Wednesdays from 4 to 5 p.m. right here on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Okay, we are back. Friends, we're back for the, not the final segment, but close to the final segment here.
Yeah, close.
We're 90 minutes in already. Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Friends, this is Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna. I'm a RE/MAX Advanced Realtor. I work out of Swickley, PA. We also have a brokerage in Robinson. Our brokerage is a franchise with RE/MAX. What a wonderful company. Wonderful company. Very proud of my brokerage. My broker, Mr. Mark Hanlovich, and his lovely wife, Patty. Wonderful people, and our agents are phenomenal. Love my brokerage. That's RE/MAX Advanced Realtors out of Swickley and Robinson. I work in Allegheny, Butler, Washington, of course, the wonderful county of Beaver, thus the host of this here show on Beaver County Radio. I, too, can be your personal realtor. I encourage you to give me a call or even check my website out at calleric.com. That's right, calleric.com. You can reach me directly at my number. Call or text me anytime, 412-613-4466. You want to write that down? It's 412-613-4466. 4466. Love to talk to you about your home if you're getting ready to sell or if you're getting ready to buy, or both. Maybe you're upsizing, downsizing. Maybe it's time for your children. One of your children possibly got recently married, looking to buy their first house. You don't have a realtor. They don't have a realtor. I love to introduce myself and just have a short conversation and see if it's a good fit. I use social media in a big way to do my listings. I'm dialed in with what I like to think the best way to market home. I take my photography and my videography very, very seriously. We do walkthrough videos of the house. We do a lot of things at our expense for our sellers to give them the best position to sell their house at market value. No nonsense, no ridiculous promises to do anything. We're honest realtor service. A laundry list of happy clients, very proud of them. You can see our testimonials at calleric.com, and I would love to have opportunity just to chat with you, even if you're 6 months or 9 months or even a year away from making a decision. Never too early to choose your realtor, and I hope you'll give me a chance. I am Eric McKenna, your personal realtor. Love that opportunity. Okay, as Matt has been helping me articulate the point here of being foolishly frugal.
Yes. Try saying that 5 times fast.
Foolishly frugal, foolishly frugal, foolishly frugal, foolishly frugal, foolishly frugal.
Ah.
Not great, but it was okay.
Yeah. For what it was, 8 out of 10.
Okay. Friends, I have to tell you, I'm a little dismayed here. We lost our Wi-Fi service here at the station. This is something we are going to address, I assure you. We've had no problem for many, many, many weeks, but the last couple of weeks have been difficult. So the first half of our show was on Facebook Live. To those of you who have been listening or were on Facebook Live, you probably can't hear this. I am sorry. We will get this corrected for next week for sure, one way or another. So to our listening audience here on Beaver County, the wide area of Beaver County Radio, which has got an unbelievable. I mean, I was in Green Tree listening to 1460. Did you know that? Yeah.
Wow.
The reach is great. The reach is great. But thank you for making us part of your Saturdays. This, again, was a science experiment. Started 48 weeks ago, a little bit before that. A couple hearty lunches of conversation before we designed the show.
Yeah.
We were trying to demystify real estate. We've had a great time here today talking about being foolishly frugal, a little catchphrase that I use in real estate and why it's important to look at real estate conceptually as one transaction and don't make it your mantra to, for lack of a better phrase, beat up the other side over a couple dollars.
Yeah.
Now sometimes $1,000 isn't a couple dollars. Sometimes $2,000 isn't a couple dollars. It's all relative to the amount of the purchase. But look at real estate as a win when you get the house that fits you and the house that you want. That's the win. And on the selling side, did you sell your house for market value? And if you didn't sell it for quite market value, it was close enough. Did it get you on to the next house? Did it save you from having to put a couple more mortgage payments in there if you already are in a new house? Did it meet your needs? Did it coordinate your new closing on the house you just built? You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of components, and you need to look pragmatically and conceptually and in the big picture.
Right.
Look at the big picture. You're not buying a 78 Oldsmobile here for $800 down the street. You know what I mean? Or you're not, you're not the swap meet, you're not, it's a different kind of thing. And that's why I think having a wonderful realtor is important, because you need help with this. I mean, if you're going to go it alone, which you can do, you might never heard this concept before. Maybe I thought buying real estate was just like going out and buying, a car. Really? That's what I thought. I mean, we try to get the best. Here I am on the phone yesterday, wasting my time between Verizon and Comcast. I'm like all of us. I'm trying to shave $1 here, $1 there, $3. And finally I said, wait a second. Verizon brings me incredible speeds to the house. I'm sure Comcast can probably do it, but I'm already set up. I have all the boxes are there. Our home phone number is connected to them, which we never use, but it's there. The inconvenience for me to waste another morning to wait for a reinstaller to come in and do all this stuff, is it really worth the extra $6 a month if Verizon was more expensive? And I'm already familiar with it. So that familiarity and how valuable is my time for a whole morning waiting to change, right?
Yeah.
So you have to think about all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's not beating them up over $6. I don't think. I mean, if I don't have the time to waste for that whole day What you think $60 a year in savings? You think my morning was worth more than $60? I can assure you it was. So everything has to be put into perspective.
It is, and I mean, people just think, it's just a matter of, we've talked so far in the few weeks I've been doing this with you about you being your personal realtor, and you understand, the personability of it. It's like, okay, yeah, you can get right down to the nitty gritty of logistics, saying this is how much you're going to save, and this is the best you can do. But the personality thing comes into play. Is like, okay, but how much is it worth of your time? How much is it worth of your conscience? How much is it worth of your future that you're going to be nickel and diming, whoever it is you're negotiating with? And it makes no sense.
Matt, you raised everything you just said there was spot on, and I wanted to add how insightful even one comment was, and that was the ethics of it. Your conscience. You're absolutely right. Your conscience could be, hey, I don't want to lose this opportunity for my children over a sum of money so insignificant. Even though, hey, Matt and I both agree, $2,500 is not an insignificant amount of money. I'd like to have an extra $2,500 in my pocket right now.
Yeah.
But in the big picture of buying a $200,000 home or even a $300,000 home that I know is right for me, it's perfect for my family. I have to get out of my apartment in a month and a half or two. I don't have time to sit there and try to beat up the seller for another $2,500, especially if the house is at market price. If you're paying a fair price for that house, the win is get in there, get the house, and let's be ethical about it as well. I mean, this isn't combat. This isn't a nasty thing. I've only had one transaction ever turn quote unquote, I guess a little nasty, maybe a little nasty between two parties, and I wanted to walk. The buyer was a nice person, and the seller didn't seem to be. But in the end, I wanted to walk because it was just distasteful and unethical to me. And I hung in there because that was my job. I was required to.
Right.
But it was unfortunate. And I look back on that one transaction. I think, is there something I could have done to help steer away from some of the drama? And I don't think so. I think sometimes you get two competing personalities and they just clash. And that's life. It happens.
It is.
It happens. But I really, the foolishly frugal thing is, and it's a tough concept. And I think I get sometimes chided by people, Matt, because they seem to think, oh, well, you're just not. It's easy for you, Eric, to say that $1,500 isn't a lot of money. I'm like, hey, $1,500 is a lot of money to me. I mean, I'm getting ready to put tires on my truck right now. So trust me, $1,500 is a lot of money to me. It's just that when you look at things in the big picture and you look at conceptually, I can see the bigger picture of no, $1,500 is not a lot of money to pay. You're not losing it, to pay a seller if the seller won't budge to get a $200,000 house that it fits just right for your family.
Yeah.
You're doing the wrong thing by walking away, especially in this market where there just isn't a lot of options and not a lot of homes out there. Think about your time and your emotional investment and everything else. So I think it's oftentimes it's lost on people. Don't you think? I think it's lost on people.
Yeah, they lose their sense of logic just to have this, trophy in their mind.
Right.
Saying, because, I mean, realistically, life itself, I'm not saying you should kowtow to the desires of others. That's not who I'm about.
That's not what I'm saying either.
But at the same time, this sort of win, like who's going to care, 5-10 years down the road if you won, if, they're just, thinking.
Are you going to care 5-10 years down the line?
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten great deals all my life, and I'm sure at times I probably maybe have overpaid for things too. But I think that's how it is with all of us. I mean, and again, overpayment. Who decides if you overpaid for things? That's a decision you make, and maybe people in your circle that might tell you their opinion, but it's an opinion. Okay.
Right.
I think if you come to a stalemate with a seller on a house that fits all your criteria, that you spend time working with, I think $1,500, $500, even $2,500 for a house, even quite frankly at $125 or $150. I think $2,500 is a practical amount of money. If your budget, you have to be able to afford it, of course. If your budget has that leeway that you can afford it, you don't want to pay it, but you can afford it.
Yeah.
Why walk away?
Right.
Why not do the right thing?
Yes.
And that's not coming from a greedy realtor, because I'm not a greedy realtor. I mean, my job is to do the best for you and try to advise you to say, hey, do you realize the pain you might be causing yourself by walking away? The pain might be we may never find this home again.
Right.
I mean, we are in a tough market. We have no inventory, or very, very low amounts of inventory, and a whole lot of buyers out there. Case in point, I wanted to share this with you. I had a client call me. We've been searching for a house, and they've been phenomenal. They are willing. They see the big picture. They called me the other day, say, hey, this house came up. I have a client roughly about 10 years younger than I am. She has a special needs sister, and the special needs sister is living with the parents. The concept is they want to move. My client wants to move her parents and the special needs sister closer. They live in a rural part of Pennsylvania. And so she found a house, after us looking at many different houses in the area, we found the house 5 or 6 blocks away from her. The house was absolutely immaculate. Immaculate. I did the comps. We discussed it. We acted. As soon as it came in the market, we were one of 7 viewings on the first day it was available. 7 viewings.
Yikes.
We went in there. We had a harsh decision. I said, look, list price or list price. No one wants to pay list, but this house is worth it. As a matter of fact, the list price I thought was a little low. It's not going to last a day. That's how good the house is. Mm-hmm. They took up a step and go, well, we don't want to pay list for anything, but we understand the concept of list price goes out the window if it's the right price to get the right house. They acted that day. Done.
Boom.
Yeah. So did they overpay? No, I don't think they did. But even if they overpaid, maybe by market by $5,000 on a $240,000 home, it was the right house.
Yeah.
When's this opportunity going to come again? So did they really overpay, or did the seller just reap the benefits of having the right buyer at the right time? You see?
Yeah.
We use semantics. Overpay. Oh, I beat him down, or I got beat on a deal, or I got taken. We use these semantics, and I think it's all created in our mind to either justify or complain about financial transactions we're involved with. Would you not agree?
I agree. I mean, you're right. It's more semantics and less logistics. You just gotta have that feeling.
Very good, Matt. I like that.
Yeah, they have to have that feeling of is this gonna be right? And again, it comes down to the final decision made by the seller or the buyer.
Right.
I mean, it's their conscience and their conscience alone.
Right. But, very good. Very good.
But the reality is, sometimes it seems very cliche to say, but sometimes you just know.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And I think most of my buyers, had that. And I will tell you, next week we're going to talk. We talked this week about being foolishly frugal on the buying side and the selling side. Next week we're going to talk about the word perfect and how the word perfect hampers a lot of buyers, and how in some ways it can hamper a seller preparing to list their house as well. But on the buying side, looking for the perfect house and holding out for some kind of delusion of the word perfect. And we're going to get into that next week. So, and for now, before we'll take our last break, Matt, is that right? And then we're going to come back, talk a little baseball, and wrap this up.
Amen.
Friends, you're listening to Your Personal Realtor here on Beaver County Radio. I'm your host, as I am every Saturday from 10 to noon, Eric McKenna. That's right, Eric McKenna, your personal realtor with RE/MAX Advanced Realtors. And we'll be right back.
Going into business for myself has been one of the most rewarding things I've done. I plan to be in business and connected to my community for a long time. That's why I partnered with Nationwide Insurance for my small business insurance.
Call the Beth Hazen Agency in Rochester at 724-775-5250 or in Elwood City at 724-758-3227.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
Providence Care Center is holding a job fair Thursday, September 7th from 10 until 4. Come and meet the management team. One lucky candidate in attendance will receive a $100 gift card. No purchase necessary. Providence Care Center is hiring RNs, LPNs, CNAs, and more. On-site interviews will be held with offers made on the spot. No previous experience. Providence Care Center offers free CNA training. Find out more Thursday, September 7th at Providence Care Center, 900 3rd Avenue, Beaver Falls, from 10 until 4.
Hello, friends. This is Remaxed Advanced Realtor Eric McKenna with CallEric.com and host of Your Personal Realtor on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. I really hope you are enjoying today's show. Friends, did you know that I can be your personal realtor? That's right. If you're looking to list your home or buy a new home, call or text me today at 412-613-4466. That's 412-613-4466. Or send me an email at sold@calleric.com. That's sold@calleric.com. I just love it when listeners become clients. So why not contact me today and let me put my social media advertising to work for you. Together, we can reach your real estate goals. This is your personal realtor, Eric McKenna, with Remaxed Advanced Realtors and CallEric.com.
724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888.
Those are the Beaver County radio numbers and probably the most famous in all of Beaver County. Matt brings on the Matt Durzik intro tune.
Yeah.
I love this song. A little Todd Rundgren for you.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Friends, this has been a great show. This has been one that I've wanted to do for a while. And I'm glad we didn't get taken off subject here. You know, usually I'll go in 15 different directions, but the concept of being foolishly frugal, by all means, if you have any comments and questions, contact me, sold@calleric.com. Easy email, sold@calleric.com. Contact me in that regard if you have any questions about the show or any comments on this, or if you've got any stories about your real estate experience. Love to hear them. Love to hear positive stories, especially with my fellow realtors, because I can assure you I work with tremendous people every day from all brokerages, you know, Howard Hanna, Berkshire Hathaway, you know, Caldwell Banker, you know, Remax, different Remax franchises, Keller Williams. There's so many wonderful realtors out there, and I love hearing good stories about realtors. I really do. I love to hear the good stuff. But I'll listen to the bad as well. Love to hear about the good stuff. We're going to wrap up the show as we always do in the last 10 minutes or so, talk a little baseball. Back on that subject, yes, of the Pirates. The Pirates. And Bob Nutting seems to be taking quite a bit of heat this last week, and justifiably so. I think what you have, Matt, is a guy who's had some business success, but I just don't view him as a baseball man. Do you?
I don't. And he's a you know, as a baseball guy, he's a real good salesman. That's basically all I can say.
Oh, he's put a heck of a sales job on through Neil Huntington as well. Now, I will say this. I am not a Clint Hurdle fan, and I never have been. That goes back to Colorado. I think he's a wonderful human being. On his personal life, I think he's one of the better human beings walking this planet. There's no question. But I have to separate the baseball from the man.
Yeah.
And I don't like his management style. I don't like how his mantra of handling pitchers. Now, they got a great pitching coach, Ray Searage, but let's face it, the decisions that are made in-game in regard to pitching shuffling, I've never been a fan of. Never.
Yeah.
They don't leave our starters in long enough. And I'm sorry, this excuse that you have to manage your starters. And I mean, it's unfathomable to me that Bob Gibson and Nolan Ryan and all these pitchers, even going back to the 80s, pitchers, there was a stat that actually meant something, Matt. It was called a complete game.
Yeah.
Where'd that go?
Well out the wayside.
We protect these pitchers like babies.
Yeah.
Really. The compartmentalization. Oh, we're bringing him in for one batter, That's not strategy. That's just garbage, in my opinion. But regardless, I'm off subject. In your thoughts here, is Huntington and Hurdle going to be renewed for the next year? Your guess, and do we see any more off-season moves by the Pirates of any consequence?
I'll start by saying that if I had to make a bet right now, Huntington will stay and Hurdle will go. That's my opinion on that.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, it should be both, I think. But the reality is I think it's just a matter of, does Neil Huntington work in the system for Bob Nutting. And I think he does.
There's no question.
So I think he's going to stick around. I think Hurdle's going to go because they think, oh, well, he's the manager. He's the one that's sort of bringing this team. And to be fair, Hurdle has made his fair share of mistakes even going to before
no question.
the winning years. I always refer to the James McDonald game where the Pirates were playing San Diego and the Pirates were up 7-1 going in the top of the fifth. I was there for that game. And by the bottom of the fifth, it was 7-7 because Hurdle put too much reliance in James McDonald.
I remember.
Yes. And so that is, and we saw that this year with Hurdle. We've seen it, plenty of times with the Pirates pitchers. And not that the Pirates pitchers, I just feel that, old school baseball, I think, can work. We've seen it work. In Cleveland, it works because they have a guy, like you said, who can throw complete games with no problem. That's Corey Kluber. And he will run, he will pitch until it kills him. He will pitch until it hurts. And he's a guy that goes out there and gets, 21 seasons. He gets strikeouts like 10 a night. Like it's nothing. And he's just phenomenal. And the Pirates don't have that. And I'm not sure if Nutting or Huntington, if he gets renewed, is going to want to pay the money to spend that. I mean, they cut Nicasio for whatever it was worth, and just to save a few bucks.
That was nauseating. We had a whole show here trying to get people to think conceptually or bigger picture. My thought is this, and I don't have a lot to compare with current day managers. I only really follow two teams, but Bob Melvin has been the manager of the A's, and he had a couple, kind of like Hurdle, had a couple good years there, and then couldn't get to the promised land.
Yeah.
Okay. Difference in styles. If you don't perform for Bob Melvin, no matter who you are, and you're going through a slump, you're sitting. Bob Melvin doesn't fall in love with any player. And see, I think the thing about Clint Hurdle is I think Clint Hurdle is friends with too many players. And what I mean by that, he really falls in love with his favorites. Okay, and luckily for us, I think Jay Hay is one, and Jay Hay deserves to play. But there's been players over the years. I think Sean Rodriguez is back here because Hurdle just thinks the world of him. I'm sorry, maybe the fans did. I don't know, but I think he's back because of that reason. The whole thing, he's going to bring camaraderie and all that. Well, I think that's all couched for public view. But I think Hurdle genuinely likes Chris Stewart. That's why Chris Stewart's on his team. It's obviously Hurdle genuinely likes John Jaso. There's no fathomable reason, number one, why he's even on the team. But if he is, why right now at the end of the season when you have these rookies, you got to play? Why is he out there? David Freese, classy guy. We're not going anywhere. The Pirates have ignored third base all year. Brett Lawrie is sit out there and would have came in here for a fraction of money. Why not try him? We didn't make any moves.
No.
And now these guys are going to fill out the rest of the season. I mean, I don't think you're telling the rest of the league you're giving up and you're not playing competitive ball if you bring a lot of young players up. Oakland's got like 5 rookies in their lineup right now, and they're playing better now than they did with their veterans earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Show the people you are really thinking about the future. If that's your decision, you come out and say, we need to take a hard look at who's going to be here in 18. Well, for goodness sake, show the people you're going to give them playing time. Diaz could be a star in this league.
Yeah, Osuna could be a star.
There's no doubt, but we're never going to know. We're never going to know. And so I guess my frustration is you get all this pitching talent in Indianapolis. I know they're in the playoffs, and since we're not competing up here, let them stay there for the playoffs. I get all that. But we hear who's coming. Austin Meadows is never going to get here.
No.
And I hate to say this, and people cringe when I say this, but I'm sorry. I have no faith that he's ever going to get here. And we just keep hearing about the future. And now here you go once again. Well, we're looking at next year again. No, you're not. You're letting Hurdle play his buddies down there, who the players he's befriended and he's fond of. That's not big league management. That's little league management, and it shouldn't even exist there. The best players should play the position.
Yeah.
This is not a private little club down there, and that's where I think Hurdle's made his mistake.
I agree, and I feel it is too much faith in these guys, and but it's not like management is really doing anything to push. It's like, hey, we want to win. Because if they did want to win, they would have told Hurdle a long time ago, hey, you can't be doing this.
They gave up weeks ago.
Yeah.
There's no question. I mean,
yeah.
And hey, listen. I really believe that they, for the most part, let Andrew McCutchen tell them what he wants to do. You can use the argument they stuck him in right in the beginning. Marte goes out, he goes back to center. That was the thing. McCutchen told Hurdle he was going back to 3, and they foolishly made that public. I mean, no player. I don't care if it's Reggie Jackson. No player should ever tell the manager what's going to happen.
Right.
They can tell them about their physical conditions and injuries, but they can't tell them how to manage the team.
Right.
You think Billy Martin took crap from Reggie Jackson?
No. There's video evidence that shows that has never happened.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody going up to Bob Melvin and saying, this is how it's going to be.
No.
And hey, I believe wholeheartedly Josh Donaldson was traded from Oakland to Blue Jays because he was basically trouble in the clubhouse and trying to dictate how the manager should manage, and that's not their role. But I think Hurdle is just not – he doesn't have the authority within his own clubhouse.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not there. I'm just guessing, but that's what I see.
He seems more like a dad figure than a manager at this point.
Somewhat. Friends, thank you so much. This has been very enjoyable, and hopefully somewhat informative as well, talking about being foolishly frugal, and please don't be, in your life in general. We're going to be back next Saturday from 10 to 2 here on Beaver County Radio. This is your host of Your Personal Realtor, Eric McKenna. I'm joined here by my great friend and producer extraordinaire, Matt Durzik.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And until next time, you've been listening to Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP in Chippewa and Beaver Falls, and 1460 WMBA in Ambridge and Moon Township. Be good to each other, and God bless.
Thanks for listening to Your Personal Realtor, hosted by Eric McKenna with RE/MAX Advanced Realtors. Content and sponsorship is provided by Eric McKenna, and the show is brought to you by CallEric.com. Tune in next Wednesday at 2 for another edition of Your Personal Realtor, hosted by Eric McKenna, right here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.